We live in the most documented era in human history. Cameras everywhere, receipts everywhere, archives everywhere. And yet, certainty is collapsing. Not because the proof disappeared, because proof became cheap. Screenshots can be fabricated, clips can be clipped, context can be erased. So the battle isn't over facts. It's over the system that decides which facts feel real. This is the verification promise, and how it broke. For most of modern life, verification was a process. Slow, expensive, and limited. A claim had to survive friction, editors, institutions, gatekeepers, and delay. That friction wasn't perfect, but it created a simple expectation. If something reached the public, it probably touched a filter first. Then the internet offered something better: scale plus proof. If everyone can record everything, the truth should become obvious. More footage, more receipts, more transparency. A world where lies shrink under the weight of documentation. That was the promise. But the system flipped. Because documentation didn't just increase truth, it increased usable artifacts. Now proof isn't a conclusion, it's raw material. And in a high-speed environment, raw material spreads faster than reality. If verification was once a filter, today it's closer to a factory. Not producing truth, producing confidence. The internet doesn't ask, "Is this accurate?" It asks, "Does this look verified?" Modern trust is built from signals: a badge, a follow account, a clean interface, a professional tone, a thread that looks sourced, a clip that looks definitive. None of these confirms reality. They confirm the presentation. And when the presentation is consistent, people experience it as truth. A claim appears online, concise, confident, framed as clarification, not persuasion. Next to it, a verification badge. The badge doesn't confirm the claim, it confirms the account. But in practice, that distinction collapses. The claim spreads, not because it's checked, but because it feels settled. Screenshots circulate, the badge stays visible, and within hours, the claim becomes a reference point. Not because it was proven, because it looked official long enough to be accepted. Proof is content now. Signals win because they're faster than verification. A badge takes a second to read. A number takes no effort to interpret. A clean layout feels like legitimacy. Real verification takes time, and time is what the system penalizes. A screenshot appears. No link, no source trail, just a fragment, cropped tightly enough to feel complete. It's reposted with certainty. Then, it was reposted again with commentary. Each repost adds confidence, not information. Context disappears, reach multiplies. By the time the original source is questioned, the screenshot has already detached from it. It no longer represents a moment. It represents a narrative. Proof is content now. And content doesn't need origins, only engagement. This is the paradox. Proof is abundant. Certainty is scarce. Because the question isn't, is there proof? It's, which proof will the system amplify? When trust becomes a signal game, the winners aren't the most accurate. They're the most convincing, the most repeatable, the most optimized. And that changes what survives. A financial offer circulates. The language is cautious. The visuals are clean. The structure feels institutional. There are dashboards, confirmations, screens that resemble systems people already trust. Nothing here feels reckless. And that's the point. Modern fraud doesn't reject credibility, it imitates it. By the time questions surface, the operation has already absorbed belief, capital, and time. Proof is content now, and credibility has become a design problem. The next consequence is social, polarization. Not just disagreement, but incompatible reality sets. Because once trust is built from signals, two groups can each possess proof, each reinforced by its own ecosystems. Each is insulated from correction. You don't just argue facts anymore. You argue the legitimacy of the evidence itself. And finally, institutional erosion. When people watch verified things collapse, they stop trusting the label, then the process, then the idea that truth is even accessible. So when a real emergency happens, the public doesn't ask, "What's true?" They ask, "Who benefits from me believing this?" That question sounds intelligent, but if it replaces reality checking, it becomes a trap. If this were an intelligence briefing, the objective wouldn't be comfort. It would be operational clarity. Because we're no longer in an information economy. We're in a signal environment. Briefing point 1. Signals are not claims. Badges, numbers, polish, confidence. They indicate positioning, not accuracy. Confusing the two is the primary failure mode. Briefing point 2. Incentives shape visibility. Messages optimized for certainty outperform messages optimized for accuracy. This doesn't require a conspiracy. It's what scale does. The system doesn't choose what's true. It selects what travels. Briefing point 3. Friction became a cost. The most reliable information often arrives after relevance expires. That's not a glitch. It's the design. The problem isn't that truth vanished. It's that truth stopped being the main thing the system rewards. We built a world where evidence is easy to manufacture and attention is expensive. So trust migrated from reality to whatever can maintain confidence at scale. That's why verified can feel like truth, even when it isn't. That's why screenshots can outrun context. That's why credibility now looks like production value. And once you see it, you start to notice the shift everywhere. Not who's right, but what the system makes believable. Because in this era, the question isn't, where's the proof? The question is, what kind of proof does this machine promote, and why?